What's up, Nerdyverse? I'm Daddy Louie, and in this video we are taking a look at a game called The Adventure Zone, Bureau of Balance. So stick around. Before we get started, if you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe for more content and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. The Adventure Zone Bureau of Balance is a game by Together Studios. It is available right now for purchase. It is a 2 to 5 player game, ages 13 and up, and takes around 60 to 90 minutes to play. This is a collaborative storytelling card game, very similar to some RPGs that you may have played, but it uses cards instead of a game master or dungeon master to drive the story. Each player will choose a class, create a character from that class, and then together you must retrieve a relic while trying to fend off some type of villain in a randomized kind of location. You do all of this, and if you can retrieve the relic and also complete one of the other 2 objectives — there's always 3 objectives in the game — you win. Otherwise, you lose. But really, this game is more about the storytelling than win and lose, and that's where the fun of the game comes from. But is it good? Well, if you join me on the table, let's check it out. Okay, so here is everything included in the box. Right off the bat, I want to say that the components in this game are really, really great. So first and foremost, here we have our character cards. Each character type has a pretty large pad of stuff, so the replayability here is quite nice. And they're all classic classes that you would expect from an RPG. You have a bard, wizard, priest, warrior, and rogue. Now, these particular character sheets are really what's going to help you drive the story. And most of the information that goes on here is purely cosmetic. It actually doesn't affect the game at all. The only thing that's really going to affect the game are these stats right here in the center, which are different depending on which class that you have. And we'll go over that more once I explain to you guys how to play the game. So over here on the left-hand side, you have you have some character information. So, you're a bard, and you're an expert on relics, mostly because and these are all things that you're just going to fill out. There's a space here for some notes. You can draw a picture, and then, of course, your name. On the back of the cards, I have one perforated here. On the back of the cards, there's some things to help you out if you've never created a character before, or your creative juices aren't flowing. Here's some examples of some things you could write in here for the left-hand side. So, you're a bard, and, you could choose human, elf, dwarf, gnome, halfling, magical robot, and there's a whole bunch of different stuff. I mean, you could, the possibilities here are endless. You don't have to choose these ones. This is just, again, if you've never created anything before and you're new, that might help you out. And then, like I said, the only information really that's super important is these stats right here, which we'll talk about more a little bit later. So at the beginning of the game, you're going to select which class you want to be, and you're going to take your corresponding class token, your action token, and that way you can keep it on your character card. And then when you want to give an assist to a player, you can spend your action token to do that, which you then get back at the end of the round. So that's the character sheets. Like I said, they're really, really nice. Okay, now we have the cards, which is going to make up the majority of the rest of the game. So first you have your mission cards. You're always going to have 3 mission cards on the table. You're always going to have a villain, relic, and a location. And there are 4 of each, so you can do different combinations. In the back of the rulebook, they give some good combinations of certain things that work well together, but you could also randomize it. So you could pick a random relic, villain, and location and play it out. They're double-sided, so on the backhand side here, this tells you how setup for that particular mission works, which is really nice and really straightforward. The art on here is pretty cool. I like that a lot. So the one thing I want to mention before I forget is when you are playing the game, the objective is to complete 2 of the 3 missions, and you're the winner. One of those missions must be the relic. So you must always complete one of the relics. And then the other one can either be the villain or the location, either or, just depending on how you and your group works. And how they want to do that. Okay, that's enough of that. The challenge cards, these correspond with the mission. At the bottom, it tells you which mission they are, and the color matches the color on the bottom here. So it's really, really simple. And then, like I said, setting these up, the rules for setting them up are on the back of the card. So we'll talk about that more during setup once I explain to you guys how to play the game. But these are also double-sided for replayability purposes. So you could play through one side, mix it up, then play through the other side, randomize it. The possibilities here are really up to you. Whoever ends up being your party leader or your group leader, they could go through each individual card and try and make, because there's some flavor text here, to try and make the story, flow better or not. And there's actually a sixth player variant. So if you have a 6th player that wants to play, you can give them the cards, and they can be the group master or the group leader. So it doesn't require a dungeon master to play, but if you did have a 6th player that wanted to be involved, that person could just take their time, make a cool story out of the cards, and your group is on their way. Next here we have some surprise cards. These are events or people or things that are going to help you in order to complete your mission. So once you've selected your missions and you lay out your challenge cards, you're then going to shuffle these up, and then each challenge deck is going to get one of these surprises, which, like I said, will help you during your gameplay. This here is the items that your characters can have. Each character can have a maximum of 2 items. And once you complete challenges, you can then turn your challenges in for treasure, basically. And this is at the Fantasy Costco, which is pretty cute. And these are usually pretty powerful items. Some of them are you have to discard, like this one here. It says you may discard this during your turn to restore 2 points of health, for example. So that's pretty great. And like I said, these are just off to the side, and you turn in your completed challenge cards in order to get yourself some weapons. The tokens, we have like a first player token. We have some just generic tokens that you can use for different things throughout the game. This is our health, our party health. So depending on what how many players you start with, 2, 3, or 5, that determines where your health starts. And then when you lose challenges and stuff, you lose health. This down here is your strength. So you always start at 0 strength, and then when you challenge something, you add up your strength. And we'll talk about that more later. And we already went over the action tokens for the class. And then finally here we have the dice. This is a D20. However, it doesn't go up to 20. The sides are 1 through 6. And then there is a critical fail. So anytime you roll this X, you automatically fail the challenge, and a critical success. So anytime you roll this, you automatically pass regardless. And then we have our board, which is where we will put all of the cards when we play. So I'm going to... Oh, one more thing that I wanted to mention. The rulebook is pretty nice. There are some QR codes on the rulebook that are going to take you to some different things on the developer's website to help you get started. There's actually a section here where you can get some tips as your team leader to help make the story a little more creative, and then, of course, how you play. Unfortunately, none of this is currently up and running, so I didn't have a chance to check it out, but they hope to have that up very, very soon. So anyway, let me go ahead and set up. I'll set up for a 3-player game, and I will show you how it plays. All right, so here I have set up for a 3-player game. This is the Lich, the Staff, and the Cave, which, according to the rule book, is what the first-time player should basically play through as, because there's not a lot of variance here. And in the back of the book, there are a few more recommended combinations, but again, you can also choose randomly or have your team leader choose. In this case, we are playing with the Priest, Warrior, and Bard. Priest is our team leader. They have the team leader, and then I've just placed these up here just so that you know. My character cards are off to the side just because we don't have a lot of room on the table. So once we've chosen our villain, our relic, and our location, we then flip these over to reveal the special rules of how we're going to create the challenge deck. The Lich, for example, says special rules during setup: arrange the cards in numerical order with Lich 1 at the top of the deck. So this says Lich 1, and it goes all the way down, Lich 2, Lich 3, etc. The finale card will always be the last card, and then after the fourth card, I've randomly placed one of those assist cards as well. The staff says there are no special rules associated with the staff. So again, the finale card or the final card goes on the bottom. I've shuffled all the other ones together to place it here, and with a card after the fourth as well. And then the cave here is during setup, arrange the cards in numerical order with cave 1 at the top. So again, we have cave 1, 2, 3, etc. So the premise here, taking the story element out of it, is players are going to take turns. You are going to try and take on one of the 3 challenges you see on the board. And in order to win the game, you must complete 2 of the 3 missions, 1, 2, 3, and one of those 2 must be the relic, which is the one in the middle. So in order to win, you must complete this thing here. So again, taking the story element out, you're going to get a relic, and while you're trying to get the relic, you're either going to defeat the villain or escape the location. That's kind of, a very generalized premise of what you're trying to do here. Now, throwing the story element back in, you see all this flavor text up here, and it's up to the team leader to try and help drive this story. And then when the players go to take an action or go to engage a challenge, they're going to talk it out. They're going to say, well, this is what my character would be doing, and you're going to role play. That's what's going to get you the most fun out of this game. So the Lich here says, the Lich is a powerful undead wizard. It has a host vial of servants and wields foul magic. What is the Lich's name? What does it look like? So this is just some guides to the team leader in order to kind of build that thing up. The staff grants the villain power over the elements, allowing them to control the weather, conjure fire and ice. It probably has a cool name like the Staff of Endless Winter. Do you know its name? ? So again, this is just helping the team leader to set the tone here. The cave is a maze of tunnels stretching deep below the surface. It's filled with traps, haunted ruins, and foul monsters. It might have a fancy name like the Caves of Despair. Do you know its name? Then down here we also have some more flavor text on some of these cards. Some of them don't. And if you do something cool or describe something cool where it says story +1, you actually get a strength bonus when trying to complete that challenge. So on your turn, you're going to engage a challenge. So you're going to choose one of the 3 visible challenge cards, and then you're going to determine your strength using your class abilities, bonuses from items. You're going to tell your story, how it's happening. If you need assistance from another player, that's where these tokens come in, so you can actually give your token to another player in order to help them to accomplish a challenge. Then you get to roll this fancy dice here, and if you complete the challenge, you do something. If you fail the challenge, something happens, and then at the end of your turn, depending on how many challenge cards you have, you can turn them in for an item and then go to the next player. So that's kind of like the premise here. So let's talk it out. a little bit further. So, like I said, the staff is something that we really, really want to go after here. So, as the priest, which is the starting character here, I'm going to look at my stats in the middle. So I have 2 against all challenges. So base against this challenge, I'm going to start at 2 strength. I have 4 strength against spooky challenges. So this challenge isn't spooky. It doesn't have the spooky symbol, but this one over here does. So the priest is going to get a bonus here to this particular challenge. I give +2 when I assist before a roll, and I give +2 when I assist after the roll. So no matter what, my character is giving +2 assist when helping other people. So right now, based on this character, this particular challenge is going to be the easiest for me. It also has this +1 with an arrow pointing this way. So while this challenge is on the board, this challenge over here is actually a 12 strength because it gets +1 from this. So taking this out is not such a horrible idea. So especially since I'm starting with a base 4 strength. So the Lich here, he's right now my character might be smack talking with a skull. That's pretty interesting. What's this haunted skull's cruelest insult? I would get a +1 bonus there. So talking it out, my priest character, we're walking through the cave and we come across an enchanted skull that is literally talking smack. He's like, yo, you're pretty ugly. And, if I were you, I would be afraid to leave this cave because you might scare somebody more than I would. I'm not very good at this, by the way. So just by doing that, just by adding to the story, building to the story, my priest, picks up the skull and he's like, ugh, I can't believe you just insulted me like that. Talks it out. So now my base went from a 4 to a 5. So now I'm 5 to 6. So I could ask for assistance, but I don't really need to because unless I get a critical fail, I'm going to complete the challenge. You just have to meet the number. So I would get to roll this dice. I actually rolled a 6, which is crazy. So I completed it, right? So I get to take this card and give it to my priest. It's worth 1 gem point. I need a total of 3 of these points in order to get an item from the item deck. So for right now, nothing happens. I take that and we open up this new thing, which is a swarm of crawling hands. So in this cave, somehow at the gate, because that's what it says, we're at the Great Gate. So we're at the gate of the cave. There's a massive fireball being thrown at us, and somehow I'm over here arguing with a smack-talking skull. But I took that out, and now all of a sudden, still at the gate, because we haven't even gone into the cave yet, the Lich sends out a swarm of crawling hands. And now I would pass it over to my bard friend, and he would take his turn. I hope that makes sense in how all of that works. It really is, if you took the story element out, the game is still fun, but you're losing a lot of its intent. And its intent is to have a fun, light, story-driven adventure without without a GM having to prep, without having to have a large, vast knowledge of a certain role-playing game. Because let's face it, the more that you know about certain role-playing games that you play, sometimes the more enjoyable they are because you know all the tricks and you know what things are and stuff like that. Newer players who are new to the role-playing game genre, we can feel a little lost sometimes because we don't have that vast knowledge of the books and the story and the lore and all that other stuff. So this takes all of that out and it brings it in a way that is accessible for other players. The components, like I said, are really great. And I guess I'm kind of going into my review. That's not what my intent was. So yeah, that's how a turn works. You're going to take turns, either going up against these challenges, and if you fail a challenge, which could happen, at the bottom right hand corner it tells you how much health you lose. So like I completed this challenge, I get this card, so this is worth 1 point to me towards an item. Had I lost this challenge for some reason, our team would have lost 1 health. And that's it. Now, some of the challenges and some of the missions, there are different ways of losing. The train, for example, if you don't win before the train deck runs out, you lose the game. And there's others as well, but the overall mission of the game is to complete 2 of these missions, one of which has to be the relic before your party's health gets to 0. And that is everything that you need to know in order to play the Adventure Zone Bureau of Balance. So what do I think of the game? Well, I kind of gave you a little bit of what I thought of the game in just a second ago. But I like that it doesn't require a GM, a game master, a dungeon master. It doesn't require any game experience whatsoever. Anyone can sit down and play this game. You don't need to have any game knowledge whatsoever. It's very newcomer welcome. The enjoyment comes from your own imagination. So the more creative that you get with it, the more fun that you have. I recommend the first time that you play that the party leader or team leader is someone who might have RPG experience, role-playing game experience, or someone who's just super creative. That really helps drive the story, and it gets other players involved more. And then from there, you can start letting other people be the team leader. There's lots of variation and lots of replayability between the 5 classes, all the different combinations of the way that you can set up the challenge decks, all the different combinations of missions that you can do. There's a lot of replayability in this box, so you're not going to get bored anytime soon. And it's just a great game. Overall, I have 0, there's nothing. I tried to pick my brain about something that I could, maybe recommend, or something that I could, not say negatively, but something that I could give to the team, as maybe something to improve on in the future. I found nothing. I'd like to see more classes, I guess, but that's something that they could do very easily in an expansion or something like that later on down the road. It's definitely not something that needs to be its own game. I'd just like to see, I'd like to see more classes and stuff like that. Future packs that give us more items, things like that. But this game is brand spanking new. I'm one of the first that's gotten to play it, which I really appreciate. I can't wait to see the how to play videos and the stuff that you get from the QR codes in the rulebook. From what I understand, Becca Scott is doing one of them, and I love her, so I can't wait to see that. But anyway, I'm going to leave links to everything in the description below. Like I said, this game is for sale right now, so you can go and pick it up and show this crew, these developers, your love and your appreciation towards this game. What do you guys think of the Adventure Zone Bureau of Balance? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you want to see more from the Circle of Nerds, you can check out all of our social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Circle of Nerds. Also, don't forget we have a podcast that comes out every week called The Cosmic Disaster Show. You can find that right here on YouTube or anywhere that you enjoy listening to podcasts. And for an extra bit of love and affection to us here at the Circle of Nerds, please consider checking us out over on Patreon at patreon.com/circleofnerds. Anyway, guys, that's all from me. I'll see you in the next video.